Mrs. Smith sat across from Sophie, her face stern and expressionless.
Sophie, let me be clear. I will never accept an orphan as my daughter-in-law.
Sophie's face turned pale instantly, her knuckles whitening as she gripped the cup. She bit her lip, afraid that if she spoke, she would burst into tears.
If possible, Sophie, please leave Alex on your own. I understand that as an orphan, you want a family, but our family will never be the one you desire.
Each time Mrs. Smith said orphan, it felt like a needle piercing Sophie's heart. She thought that after surviving a gloomy childhood and a bullied adolescence, and finally getting into college through her own efforts, she could bravely say goodbye to the past and live a normal life. But reality slapped her hard in the face. At this point, Sophie's pride wouldn't allow her to grovel before Mrs. Smith. Holding back her tears, she quickly stood up.
I understand your point. Excuse me, I need to leave.
Back at her rented apartment, Sophie lay on the bed and cried her heart out. She cried for her birth, her love, and the fact that no matter how hard she tried, she could only upgrade from a shared room to a small one-bedroom apartment. Alex soon arrived at her place.
Darling, did my mom come to see you? Don't worry, I won't listen to her. I truly love you and want to give you a home.
What good is your true love? Everything you have now is given by your mom. What right do you have to say you can make your own decisions?
Alex's temper wasn't great to begin with, and Sophie's words made his face darken.
Darling, I don't want to argue with you.
Leave. You can't give me the home I want, and I don't have the courage to fight your mom with you. For an orphan, just struggling to survive takes all my strength.
Sophie looked at him sadly and helplessly. She admitted she used a bit of strategy because she truly loved Alex. She wanted to see if, besides his true love, he could make an effort for her, transforming from a lazy, aimless rich kid into a responsible man. At the very least, he shouldn't be completely voiceless in his own love and marriage.
If you give me hope, I will try my best to walk this path with you.
Alex eventually fled under Sophie's calm gaze. She felt a mix of disappointment and hope, anticipating his change but also preparing for the possibility that he might never change. If that happened, she would have to say goodbye to him for real, wishing him a life where he never had to grow up. Just a day later, I was stunned to see Alex standing at my door with a suitcase, grinning foolishly.
Darling, I've run away from home. I don't have to listen to my mom anymore. She cut off all my cards, so from today, I'm seeking refuge with you.
I let him in, speechless. Did he think this was some kind of life experience game? My place was small. To the left of the entrance was the bathroom, to the right a simple cooking area with an electric stove. Beyond a sliding door was a single room, my entire living space. Alex had been here before, but we usually went out for dates due to the limited space. Now, he was eagerly looking around.
Where will I sleep tonight? I promise I'll behave.
His intentions were obvious, but seeing his expression lightened my mood. I snorted lightly. You'll sleep on the floor for now. I'll lay out a mat for you. Tomorrow, we'll get you a small mattress. By the way, you're not just doing this on a whim, are you? I looked at him skeptically. As a rich kid, even his bathroom was bigger than my room. Could he really adapt?
Don't underestimate me. I'm fighting for our love and our future. Don't worry. Until things are settled at home, I won't let you face my mom alone. Without my care, how well do you think you can manage? You suffer terribly sometimes, love eating nuts but can't crack them, cry easily, and always try to be strong, even though you're afraid of the dark and never tell me.
Seeing he was about to continue, I stood on tiptoe, cupped his face, and kissed his chattering mouth. I never imagined that the Alex who was so fierce in fights with thugs would be such a chatterbox in front of his girlfriend. It was unbelievable.
Darling, your kiss is making me weak. Can I sleep in the bed tonight?
Of course, I coldly refused him. Though my boyfriend was adorable, he had a long way to go before earning a spot in my bed. As I was about to fall asleep, I heard Alex mumbling from the floor.
Darling, I'll work hard to give you a home. Trust me.
I admit I used a bit of strategy because I truly loved Alex. Otherwise, I wouldn't have stayed in this big city, struggling and striving. I wanted to see if, besides his true love, he could make an effort for me, transforming from a lazy, aimless rich kid into a responsible man. At the very least, he shouldn't be completely voiceless in his own love and marriage. If he gave me hope, I would try my best to walk this path with him. As for why an orphan like me fell for Alex? Because he saved me from bullies when I was in despair. Because he cared for me, making me feel cherished like a little girl for the first time. He might be spoiled, somewhat naive, and a bit childish, but I believed he truly loved me.
Give me some time.
Alex eventually fled under my calm gaze. I felt a mix of disappointment and hope, anticipating his change but also preparing for the possibility that he might never change. If that happened, I would have to say goodbye to him for real, wishing him a life where he never had to grow up. Sure enough, the next day when I got home, I was met with Alex's frustrated and helpless face.
It's my mom. She found out I got a high-paying job with the help of my friends and immediately cut off my support by calling all my friends, telling them not to help me.
The Smith family's circle consisted of neighbors who had become wealthy from property demolitions. Some squandered their newfound wealth on vices, while others seized opportunities to start small businesses, forming a tight-knit group. Mrs. Smith was the leader of this group. So, when the leader spoke, Alex instantly lost all the high-paying jobs he could easily get, leaving him deeply frustrated.
I don't know what to do.
He rested his head on my chest, and as I stroked his slightly prickly hair, a shadow fell over my heart. It seemed Mrs. Smith's disapproval of me was strong enough to make her beloved son, spoiled for over 20 years, suffer. At the same time, I worried whether Alex could endure this. Could his love for me withstand the hardships that come with financial struggles? After some comforting, Alex felt better and, with gritted teeth, declared,
I'll find a decent job without my mom or acquaintances' help. After all, I'm a legitimate college graduate.
I wholeheartedly supported his idea and immediately shared various job search websites with him, guiding him on how to write a resume. Alex enthusiastically browsed the websites, occasionally mocking some bizarre job requirements. His quick wit and humor often made me laugh out loud. I suggested something in jest. If you can't find a job, you could consider becoming a comedian. I heard mentors in that field provide food and lodging, so you wouldn't have to worry about starving.
That's an idea.
He pretended to ponder this for a moment, then pounced on me, tickling me until I was tearful and red-faced, begging for mercy. Only then did he let go, holding me quietly on the bed. We enjoyed the warmth and tranquility, eventually falling asleep. The next morning, after getting up and freshening up, we exchanged a kiss. I left for my recording session, and Alex set off to job hunt with renewed vigor. Usually, I could only record 2 lessons in a morning, but today I was in great shape and recorded twice as much. James even exclaimed,
Wow, you must have had an energy boost.
I smiled without explaining, but I did feel a sense of urgency. I had a premonition that Alex's job search wouldn't go smoothly. He had been out of school for over a year without a proper job, and his privileged background made him picky about salaries. To put it bluntly, he had high expectations but low qualifications, the least favored type in the job market. But my past experiences taught me never to test human nature because the results would never be what you wanted. To maintain my relationship with Alex, I couldn't just leave things to fate. I sped up my work in the afternoon and returned home to find Alex still not back. After preparing a few dishes, I finally heard the door open. Seeing Alex's expression, I knew the day's outcome wasn't good.
My job search was unsuccessful. Either the salaries were too low, or the employers rejected me for lack of experience. In short, nothing worked out. There were even offers for high-paying jobs as a male escort, but my pride wouldn't allow me to sell my looks, almost leading to a conflict.
I comforted him. Finding a job isn't something that can be rushed. Alex accepted my comfort, and seeing the dinner I made, his mood improved. He immediately took a photo and posted it on social media.
First day of job hunting, girlfriend's loving dinner, feeling blessed.
I admit I used a bit of strategy because I truly loved Alex. Otherwise, I wouldn't have stayed in this big city, struggling and striving. I wanted to see if, besides his true love, he could make an effort for me, transforming from a lazy, aimless rich kid into a responsible man.
Give me some time.
Alex eventually fled under my calm gaze. I felt a mix of disappointment and hope, anticipating his change but also preparing for the possibility that he might never change. If that happened, I would have to say goodbye to him for real, wishing him a life where he never had to grow up. They say when you're down on your luck, even drinking cold water can get stuck in your teeth. But once your luck turns, good things come in bunches. I scheduled Alex's English lessons from 8 to 10 p.m. every night. So the next day, I went out to work during the day while Alex, rejuvenated, went job hunting.
I found a job!
Hearing the excitement in his voice, I was thrilled and immediately told him we should celebrate that night.
Can we postpone the lesson for the celebration?
Of course, not. After work, I bought a bunch of Alex's favorite fruits and snacks, along with a few cans of beer. We ate, drank, and laughed together, watching a mindless variety show, having a great time. I felt fortunate that although Alex came from a well-off family, his lifestyle and tastes weren't overly picky, which was a significant reason we hadn't had major conflicts despite dating for so long. After dinner, Alex tried to hold me back by hugging me from behind, attempting to use his weight to keep me in place. Seeing through his intentions, I mercilessly pinched his waist, making him yelp and reluctantly let go. I had already set up the live stream, titled Teaching My Boyfriend English, and started talking to the empty room. Alex's poor English skills were astonishing. At times, I wondered how he even got into college. But whenever I was about to lose my patience, he would crack jokes to cheer me up, allowing me to take a deep breath and continue teaching. After 2 hours, I felt my patience had been well tested. To my surprise, 20% of the viewers stayed, and I gained 20 new followers.
The stream was quite successful. During your interactions with Alex, the comments and engagement were the highest. We should explore this aspect more. I'll buy promotions and advertisements so we can work together to grow the account.
James's marketing and promotional skills were exceptional. He attracted a lot of traffic through various channels, and the chemistry between Alex and me, along with our genuine interactions, won over many viewers who loved our sweet moments. I studied many popular couples bloggers and streamers, finding that the most successful ones were genuine and unscripted. This wasn't a problem for Alex and me. He was naturally humorous, and I wasn't just pretending to teach English, there was real content. Since the English proficiency test was only available to college students, I set a small goal for Alex in the stream, to score 5 on the IELTS.
So, viewers often left comments like, "Did brother-in-law pass IELTS 5 today?" which always prompted a few playful retorts from Alex, making them comment even more frequently.
While things were progressing smoothly for me, Alex's job seemed to be going well too. He left home at 7 a.m. and returned at 7:30 p.m., with the company generously providing lunch and dinner.
But when I asked about his job specifics, he dodged the question, only assuring me it was legal and ethical. I'm not one to press too hard, so I let it go, half believing him.
A month later, Alex happily transferred me 10,000 yuan, saying it was his salary.
Oh my darling is amazing. For someone like Alex, with no work experience, earning over 10,000 in his first month was astonishing. Now, I was truly curious about his job. The next day, in the bustling city, amidst the chaos, I stayed for one reason, Alex. I wanted to see him change, to become responsible.
Give me some time.
He fled under my calm gaze. Disappointment and hope mingled within me. I admit I used a bit of strategy because I truly loved Alex. Otherwise, I wouldn't have stayed in this big city, struggling and striving.
I wanted to see if, besides his true love, he could make an effort for me, transforming from a lazy, aimless rich kid into a responsible man. At the very least, he shouldn't be completely voiceless in his own love and marriage.
If he gave me hope, I would try my best to walk this path with him.
As for why an orphan like me fell for Alex?
Because he saved me from bullies when I was in despair. Because he cared for me, making me feel cherished like a little girl for the first time. He might be spoiled, somewhat naive, and a bit childish, but I believed he truly loved me.
Give me some time.
Alex eventually fled under my calm gaze. I felt a mix of disappointment and hope, anticipating his change but also preparing for the possibility that he might never change. If that happened, I would have to say goodbye to him for real, wishing him a life where he never had to grow up.
Our life together soon brightened up. I was fine, mostly streaming and occasionally going to a professional studio to record lessons. Alex, however, faced some challenges.
Apparently, many people came specifically to watch the rich kid slice fruit. There were even media outlets coming for interviews. The fruit shop manager was both thrilled and worried, thrilled by the sales boost but concerned about potential accidents due to the crowd. They eventually had to implement a ticket system for fruit slicing services, where only those with tickets could have Alex serve them. This even led to people buying tickets from others, much to the amusement of the staff.
All of this indicated that Alex had indeed become quite popular.
In the end, Alex had to resign. But having experienced the joy of working, he didn't want to stay home streaming all day. He ended up joining James to meet clients, and according to James, he did quite well. Good news kept coming. Our courses started appearing on various platforms. Initially, many questioned why a love-showing streamer like me was selling professional courses. But after seeing the content and receiving feedback from many students, they gradually acknowledged my abilities.
In the age of traffic, once you grasp the key, the speed and amount of monetization can be quite impressive. When we celebrated earning our first million, the three of us got drunk. That night, my relationship with Alex naturally progressed, and he finally moved from the floor to the bed.
The next morning, I received another call from Mrs. Smith. Mrs. Smith still had the same stern expression as the first time we met. She motioned for me to sit down and didn't mention anything about Alex and me. Instead, she started talking about her entrepreneurial experiences when she was young.
I didn't have a high level of education, but I was bold and hardworking.
After receiving the demolition compensation, I founded my first agricultural product processing factory. I endured many hardships at the beginning, even personally loading goods and driving trucks like a man. I've suffered enough, so I don't want my child to suffer. Plus, Alex was raised by his grandmother and spoiled rotten. By the time I wanted to discipline him, it was too late. I thought, since the family has money, I'd let him live like that. As long as I kept an eye on him and found him a smart wife who could manage him, he'd be fine. But I didn't expect him to find you. Honestly, I'm not satisfied with your family background. And your delicate demeanor when we first met reminded me of Alex's father's mistress.
I pressed my lips together and said nothing.
But I didn't expect Alex to settle down, find a job, and live a stable life for you. When I saw this news online, I thought I might have misjudged you and your relationship. I owe you an apology for judging you by your appearance. And I must thank you for changing Alex. Sophie, I'm sorry, and thank you.
I was so shocked that I jumped up, waving my hands, my face and eyes turning red. I never expected Mrs. Smith to be so straightforward and decisive, sincerely apologizing to a junior. All my grievances vanished like the wind.
You don't have to do this. I didn't do anything.
I admit I still don't like your tendency to cry easily, but I won't oppose your relationship anymore. Whether you can get married in the future, I will respect your decision.
Thank you.
Mrs. Smith smiled slightly and then sat down, motioning for me to sit as well. Her smile was actually very beautiful, and the sternness on her face faded significantly.
I know you two are working on a business now. If you encounter any financial problems, you can come to me. And you can call me Auntie Smith.
After saying this, Mrs. Smith left. I sat by the window, watching Mrs. Smith put on her sunglasses and regain her stern look. Suddenly, I felt that she was actually a very gentle mother at heart. Only a truly gentle mother would disregard her seniority and apologize to a junior. However, the gap between her and Alex, caused by years of busyness, wouldn't be easily bridged.
Darling, are you okay? What did my mom do to you? Where is she?
Huh? Oh, Auntie Smith had to leave for something. She said she won't oppose us being together anymore.
I smiled and kissed Alex on the cheek.
This year, let's spend the new year with Auntie Smith.
Okay.
Alex was stunned at first, but then he was overjoyed and spun me around in circles. The air at that moment was filled with the scent of happiness. The end.